Do you ever look at the world around you and get the nagging feeling that the entire system is rigged against you? That you're running on a hamster wheel, working harder and harder, trying to follow the rules, only to find yourself more tired, more confused, and further from the life you actually want to live? Let me break it to you gently. You're not wrong. You're not crazy. Modern society isn't just accidentally difficult for men, it's actively, systematically designed to disempower you. It's engineered to make you a compliant, controllable consumer, a docile worker, and a confused suitor. And the brutal truth is, you're falling for it hook, line, and sinker. You're playing a game you can't win because the rules were written by the house. For the house. In this video, I'm not going to give you a laundry list of complaints or another political rant that leaves you angry but powerless. I am going to expose the 3 invisible pillars of this system that are specifically engineered to keep you weak, anxious, and dependent. And then, more importantly, I'm going to give you the blueprint to build your own reality, a fortress of personal sovereignty, completely outside of their control. Most men hear this and think I'm talking about some grand conspiracy. They're looking for men in smoke-filled rooms plotting the downfall of masculinity. It's not that cloak and dagger. It's simpler and far more insidious. I call it the modern matrix for men. This isn't science fiction. The modern matrix is a social and economic system that profits from your confusion, your loneliness, and your desperation. It's a system that has figured out that a strong, independent, mission-focused man is a terrible consumer. A man with a purpose doesn't need the latest gadget to feel alive. A man with genuine confidence doesn't need to buy a car he can't afford to signal his worth. A man who understands his own value doesn't desperately swipe on a dating app, feeding the algorithm with his hope. The system promises you freedom through consumption and validation through compliance, but all it delivers is a gilded cage. True sovereignty isn't about having more toys in the cage, it's about having the key to the lock and the courage to walk out the door. I remember when I was in my late 20s. I had a job offer that, on paper, was the dream. A prestigious consulting firm, a 6-figure salary that was astronomical back then, a clear path up the corporate ladder. Everyone, my parents, my professors, my friends, they all told me I'd be a fool to turn it down. It was the safe choice, the smart choice. It was the validation I was told I should be seeking. I went to the final interview in a skyscraper that blotted out the sun. I looked at the men in the corner offices. They had the suits, the watches, the view, but I saw something else in their eyes. A quiet exhaustion, a hollowness. They were powerful within the walls of that building, but they were prisoners of it. They were cogs in a machine they didn't own, serving a purpose that wasn't theirs. That afternoon, I turned the job down. People thought I was insane. I took the little money I had and started my first ugly, terrifying business. It wasn't glorious. It was 16-hour days, fueled by cheap coffee. But for the first time in my life, the wins were mine, the losses were mine, and my time was mine. I had the key. And that, right there, is the beginning of escaping the matrix. It's the realization that the security they offer you is just a leash in disguise. The single biggest mistake you are making is believing that you can win by playing their game. You fundamentally believe that if you just follow the script they've handed you, you'll eventually get the prize. You think that if you work harder at your 9 to 5, you'll get the promotion that finally makes you feel successful. You think that if you're just nicer to women, if you listen more, agree more, and validate more, you'll finally be rewarded with genuine desire and respect. You think that if you consume the right news, hold the right opinions, and signal the right virtues, you'll be accepted as one of the good guys. You are playing by a rulebook designed to make you lose, and you're blaming yourself for the outcome. You're a pawn trying to play by the rules of a king, wondering why you can only move 1 square at a time, while everyone else glides across the board. Let's dissect why this strategy is a catastrophic failure. From a systems perspective, modern society needs you to be predictable and manageable. The educational system is the first stage of this programming. It doesn't teach you how to think, It teaches you what to think. It rewards memorization and obedience, not critical thought and dissent. It prepares you to be a good employee, not a disruptive innovator or a leader. It funnels you into a system of debt for a degree that in many cases no longer guarantees a prosperous future. Then you enter the corporate world. The Human Resources Department is not your friend. It is the legal defense system of the corporation, designed to mitigate risk and enforce conformity. It promotes a culture of sanitized, risk-averse communication that neuters masculine directness and problem-solving. It encourages a passive-aggressive environment where saying what you actually mean is a liability. You are incentivized to be agreeable, not effective. And what is the economic engine of this system? Consumption. The entire advertising industry is a multi-trillion-dollar machine designed to create and then prey upon your insecurities. It tells you that you are not enough. You are not handsome enough, not rich enough, not exciting enough. But for a price, you can buy a product that will patch that hole in your soul. A watch that will signal success. A cologne that will create attraction. A video game that will give you a feeling of purpose that your real life lacks. A lonely, insecure man is the perfect consumer. He is a bottomless pit of need, and the system is more than happy to sell him shovels. This creates a feedback loop of failure. You work a job that drains your life force to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like, and to numb the pain of a life that feels increasingly meaningless. Let me paint you a picture of the man this system produces. We'll call him Modern Mark. Mark is 32. He did everything right. He got good grades, went to a decent university, and landed a stable job in marketing. He makes enough money to afford a clean, minimalist apartment filled with furniture he assembled himself. His life is comfortable. But Mark is deeply, profoundly lonely. He spends his evenings scrolling. He scrolls through Instagram, looking at the curated lives of his friends who seem to be perpetually on vacation or getting married. He feels a pang of envy and inadequacy. He scrolls through the news, a constant fire hose of outrage and fear that leaves him feeling anxious and angry at forces he can't control. Then he opens the dating apps. He spends an hour carefully crafting clever messages to women who will never reply. When he does get a match, the conversation feels like a job interview for a position he doesn't even want. He gets ghosted, stood up, and told he's a great guy, but he's tried being the bad boy. It felt inauthentic. He's tried being the nice guy, and he became a doormat. He's confused about his role, his purpose. So he seeks comfort. He orders food delivery, watches pornography, and plays video games where he can be the hero he isn't in his own life. Mark is a good person. He's reliable, he's kind, he works hard, but he feels invisible. He feels like a ghost in his own life. He is a battery plugged into the matrix, and the system is slowly, quietly draining him of his vitality, his ambition, and his masculine spirit. And the most tragic part is he thinks it's all his fault. The only way to win is to stop playing their game. You must build your own. This isn't about becoming a hermit or starting a revolution in the streets. This is about an internal revolution. It's about sovereignty. It's about becoming the architect of your own life, not a tenant in a structure somebody else built for their own benefit. You must consciously and deliberately unplug from the systems designed to keep you weak and plug into a new source of power, yourself. This isn't a motivational platitude. It is a strategic imperative. You must forge an identity so strong, a purpose so clear, and a body so capable that the temptations and manipulations of the matrix become irrelevant noise. You stop seeking their validation because you have learned how to validate yourself. You stop consuming their distractions because you are too busy building your own empire. This transformation rests on 3 non-negotiable pillars. These are the foundations of your new reality, the load-bearing walls of your personal kingdom. They are 1. Economic independence, 2. Psychological fortitude, and 3. Physical dominion. Master these 3 and you become ungovernable. You become free. Let's start with the first and most critical pillar, economic independence. Understand this. Your 9-to-5 job is the modern plantation. It is a system designed to trade your most valuable, non-renewable asset, your time, for a wage calculated to be just enough to keep you comfortable, but not enough to ever be truly free. Your salary is a sedative. It's the bribe they pay you to forget your dreams. True economic freedom is not about having a high salary. It is about ownership. You must shift your entire mindset from earning to owning. You must own an asset, a business, a brand, a high-income skill that you control. An employee is always at the mercy of his employer. An owner is at the mercy only of the marketplace. And that is a game you can learn to win. I remember my first real business. It was a small-scale import operation. I spent every penny I had on a container of goods from overseas. The day it was supposed to arrive, I got a call. The shipment was held up in customs, tangled in a web of bureaucracy I didn't understand. For 2 weeks, my entire net worth sat in a metal box in a port, and every day that passed was costing me money I didn't have. My friends, the ones with the safe corporate jobs, told me to cut my losses. They said I was in over my head. I didn't sleep for days. But I didn't quit. I made 100 phone calls. I read every line of the import regulations. I drove to the port and spoke to people face to face until I found someone who could help. When that container was finally released and I made my first sale, the feeling was not just relief. It was a profound sense of power. I had faced ruin, and I had solved the problem myself. That experience taught me more than a decade in a corporate job ever could have. It taught me that security is not the absence of risk. Security is the confidence in your ability to handle risk. So, what can you do tomorrow? Start. Start a side hustle. Learn a high-income skill like coding, copywriting, or sales. Buy a single share of a dividend-paying stock. The amount doesn't matter. The act of becoming an owner, of separating your income from your time, is what rewires your brain. You start seeing the world not as an employee, but as an investor. That is the first key to the cage. The second pillar is psychological fortitude. If economic dependence is the physical cage, psychological manipulation is the mental one. Modern society is engaged in a constant, relentless psychological war for your mind. The news cycle is designed to keep you in a state of perpetual fear and anxiety. Social media is engineered to make you compare your real life to everyone else's highlight reel, breeding envy and self-doubt. The entertainment industry often portrays masculinity as either toxic, bumbling, or obsolete. It is a psychological onslaught, and if you don't consciously build your defenses, your mind will be colonized. You must become the ruthless gatekeeper of your own consciousness. You have to build an internal frame of reference so robust that the opinions and narratives of the outside world bounce off it like pebbles off a tank. A few years ago, a smear campaign was launched against one of my companies online. It was based on a lie, a complete fabrication. Suddenly, the social media mob descended. Partners got nervous. Friends called me, telling me I had to issue a public apology, to play the game, to placate the mob. My PR team drafted a statement full of corporate jargon and capitulation. I read it and I threw it in the trash. I knew the truth. My principles were clear. So I did nothing. I said nothing. I just kept running my business, focusing on my mission. For a week, the storm raged. And then, as it always does, the mob got bored and moved on to its next target. The partners who stuck with me respected me more. The ones who panicked showed their true colours. By refusing to let their reality become my reality, I not only survived, I grew stronger. My internal frame held. Your practical application starts now. Go on an information diet. Unfollow every single account on social media that makes you feel angry, envious, or inadequate. Stop watching the news. I'm serious. If something is important enough, you will hear about it. Replace that time with reading. Read the great Stoics. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. Read books on business, on history, on biographies of great men. Fill your mind with timeless wisdom, not transient outrage. And every day, spend at least 15 minutes in complete silence. No phone, no music, no podcasts. Just you and your own thoughts. Learn to be comfortable in your own mind. That is how you build a psychological fortress. The third and final pillar is physical dominion. The system wants you soft. It wants you weak, tired, and unhealthy. A man who is physically compromised is mentally compromised. He is easier to control, easier to sell to. His lack of physical energy translates into a lack of ambition and drive. Taking radical ownership of your body, your health, your strength, your physical presence is a revolutionary act. It is the most direct and tangible way to reclaim your masculine power. Lifting heavy weights is not just about building muscle, it's a metaphor for life. You are putting yourself under a heavy load voluntarily, and you are overcoming it. That act builds a type of discipline and mental toughness that bleeds into every other area of your existence. When you can deadlift twice your body weight, a difficult conversation with your boss doesn't seem so intimidating. When you've disciplined yourself to eat clean for months, turning down a cheap distraction becomes effortless. Your body is not a vehicle you drive around. It is the physical manifestation of your will. I was what you'd call skinny fat for most of my early 20s. I had no physical presence. I remember walking into business meetings and feeling like I had to talk loudly to be noticed. I was a floating head in a suit. And then I discovered the barbell. I started training, seriously. I started eating like a man, not a boy. Within a year, my body transformed. But the real change was on the inside. I started walking into rooms differently. My posture changed. I spoke with more resonance, more calm. People started reacting to me before I even opened my mouth. Women looked at me differently. Men showed me a different kind of respect. It wasn't about being a bodybuilder. It was about embodying a sense of capability. My physical transformation created a mental one. My dominion over the iron gave me dominion over myself. Your action plan is simple and it is immediate. Today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. You will go to a gym. You will find the squat rack, the bench press, and the deadlift platform. You will learn the fundamental compound lifts that build real functional strength. And for the next 30 days, you will eliminate 2 things from your diet: processed sugar and industrial seed oils. That's it. No more soda, no more candy, and cook your food in butter or olive oil, not vegetable oil. In 1 month, you will not only look and feel better, but your mind will be clearer, your energy will be higher, and you will have proven to yourself that you are in control. You are the master of your own physical vessel. Now, I want you to look down the corridor of time. I want you to see 2 doors 10 years from now. Behind one door is the man who listens to this, feels a flicker of motivation, and then does nothing. He keeps playing the game. Let's look at his life. He's in his 40s now. He got a few minor promotions, so his cage is a little bigger, the bars a little more golden. He has a mortgage on a house in the suburbs that he barely has time to enjoy. His body is soft. He has chronic back pain and gets tired climbing a flight of stairs. He's married, maybe, but the relationship lacks passion and polarity. It feels more like a business partnership. He spends his nights on the couch, watching streaming services, a beer in his hand, feeling a quiet, gnawing regret. The regret of knowing that he had the potential for an epic life, a life of adventure and purpose. But he chose the comfortable path. He chose the sedative. He looks in the mirror and doesn't see a king or a warrior or an adventurer. He sees a man who followed the rules and received his reward, a life of quiet desperation. He is safe, he is stable, and his soul is dying. Now, let's look behind the second door. This is the man who decided today to build his own kingdom. In 10 years, he doesn't look older. He looks more powerful. His face has character lines etched by experience, not worry. He wakes up in the morning not to an alarm clock, but because his body is fully rested and he is excited to attack the day. He doesn't commute to a job. He walks to his home office to run the business he built from the ground up. His income is not capped by a boss, but by his own creativity and effort. His body is strong, lean, and capable. He moves with a sense of purpose and calm confidence. Women are not a source of confusion and anxiety for him. They are a wonderful complement to a life that is already complete and fulfilling. He doesn't seek validation from social media or the news because he is too busy living a life worth validating himself. He has a small circle of strong, loyal brothers who hold him accountable. He is the master of his fate, the captain of his soul. He is not free from problems, no man is, but he faces them on his own terms, with strength and honour. He is a sovereign man. He is free. And it all started with a single choice, on a single day, to stop being a pawn and start becoming a king. So, let's be crystal clear. Society is not your mother. It is not your friend. It is a machine. And you are either a compliant gear within that machine, serving its purpose, or you are the operator of your own machine, serving your own. Stop begging for a seat at their table. Stop hoping they'll finally recognize your worth. They won't. Go out and build your own damn table. Build your own damn kingdom. This path, the path of sovereignty, is not the easy path. It is often a lonely one. It requires sacrifice, discipline, and the courage to be misunderstood. But the alternative is the slow, comfortable death of your own potential. It is a life of what-ifs and should-haves. That is a price no man should be willing to pay. I have given you the map. I have shown you the door. But you, and only you, can choose to walk through it. Don't come crying to me in 5 years if you chose to stay in the cage because it felt safe. I want you to make a choice right now. A commitment. This is not for me. This is for you. In the comments below, I want you to write this exact phrase: I build my own kingdom. No explanation, no questions, just that statement. A declaration to yourself and the world that you are done being a pawn in someone else's game. You are the architect now. If you are serious about this journey, if you are truly ready to become the man you are meant to be, then subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. This isn't just a YouTube channel. This is mission control for men who refuse to accept mediocrity and are committed to building a life of freedom, power, and purpose. Now stop watching. The time for learning is over. The time for building begins now. Get to work.